Alright, good morning. We're back. Today we're looking at a heavy Class C cruiser that I've been working on for the last couple of days. I call it the Albion. It's just about as long as the game will allow you to make. I think it came out to 38 meters to the center point, 40 being the max. It's got a lot of internal hab space. One of the things I wanted to do a little different with this build was use this Stroud landing bay. I wanted to get away from using that ship bed landing bay that I'm using in all my builds. Try something different. So I went with that. Used the Stroud AccuLander landing gears because they blend in with the landing bay perfectly. This nose has this cavity in the middle where I've mounted my PBO 175 guns. It's actually large enough so you can fit in here. I also tested some builds, designs where I put the 2x1 hab in there. And you can do that if it's fine. But I have enough hab space inside. I just decided to put the guns in there. You got the both weapons pylons, or the wings, basically the pontoons that stick out on both sides. And of course I'm using 6 of the SAL 6830 landing gears. Oops. And the bridge is that Kontiki 500. So nearly all the parts on this are Stroud. This is essentially a Stroud build with a couple of the trim pieces being from
to take care of
Deimos.
any leeches. Sure, have at it.
So this is the Albion. I got the cargo up to 7,000. Shields are 1,500, and this is really the only compromise I ended up making was the shields, because the Class C 1,800, I believe it is. Let's see what it was. Oops. I believe it was the Class C's, or that 1,800. Yeah, assurance. So that's 160 mass. Whereas the Class B shields I'm using are 1,500. It's only 100 shield power less. But the shield that I'm using, the 28T, is only 90 mass. So that's a savings of 70 mass, which is quite a bit. I was really trying to keep the cargo at 7,000. I don't know, it's just my OCD kicking in. And I couldn't do that with that Class C shield generator. There's no way to get it up that high without doing like some extreme makeover with like deleting the nose off the front of the ship. It just ended up looking stupid, and I didn't want to do that. I use a max crew of 8, and I got that by using 6 of the crew stations. I have the computer station at the bottom, which adds 1, and the engineering section, which adds 1. So I don't have any of the sections. I don't have any control stations on the ship. So max speed for Class C is 130, and with these engines, these SAL 6830s, these are the most powerful engines you can get in the game. You can have 6 of them total because they're 2 power each. The most mass that you can get is 4,275. Anything over that, and your mobility will drop down to 99. See. And that's fine, going down, below 100, but that's just a personal challenge to me, is how much can I get on the ship and keep the mass, or excuse me, keep the mobility at 100. That's just something I've always done in my builds. Gives me something to strive for. As I said, it's a large ship, 37 meters, 40 being the max to the center point. I don't know how long, I guess it's 40 also for the length, or the width, but I've never actually gone that high, because it would just look weird. As I was saying earlier, this is really just a blending of 2 different designs. I have my Beluga Class C Starliner, which is really just a big passenger ship. And then it's also the Razorback. Now I already did a video on the Razorback, but that was a Class A ship. I've redesigned it into a Class B, and I might do a video on this one next to show you just how I some of the changes I made. It's essentially the same ship, but it's all the weapons, cargo, all that stuff is upgraded to Class B. Also, I might do a video on this one. Is the roly-poly. It's a super small Tayo build that I made. So I had to get creative with some of the stuff I did on here. As always, none of my ships use glitches, mods, or anything. It's just straight vanilla builds. So give me a second. I'll take this thing apart, and we'll show you how it goes together, and we'll go from there. Alright, we're back. I've got this thing disassembled. As you can see, we're going to do this by decks. Otherwise, I'm never going to figure out how to get this put back together. I've gone through probably 100 different variations, and it gets confusing sometimes. Essentially, deck 1 is just going to be this 2 halves with all the landing gears connected to it. You start off with a Stroud computer core 2x1 and a Stroud workshop 2x1. And surrounding it are going to be 11 of these Aculander 11 landing gears. So there's going to be 5 on each side. And then in the back here, there's going to be 1 Aculander, and you can see these things can be configured in different ways. So they can be kind of sloped off to the side. You have the mid variant that has connection hard points on all 4 sides, or it can slope to the right. So that one's going to be to the left. Oops. And then this one's going to be in a middle configuration, so we can snap to the 5th one, and then work our way up the side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 landing gears. And they only have 2 thrust. That's why you have to use so many of them. I could have used the Nova Galactic ones. They have 4 thrust, but like I said, I was trying to keep this mostly Stroud, and I like the way that it all looks together, or all kind of comes together as far as the streamline looked. I wanted to use the Stability Pro landing bay just because it blends in perfectly with these landing gears. I could have put this 11th landing gear up here in this section right here, but then if you look from the bottom, there would be a landing gear here, but because this isn't a landing gear, it would look like you have 1 extra landing gear on this side and 1 too few on this side, and I wanted to keep the symmetry. So all I did was I stuck it in the middle back here, and I used a Stroud Cowling 1 LA and just stuck it right there. So you can see it blends in perfectly with these landing gears. And in the center, I use a Stroud companionway 1x1, and we're going to use these companionways all the way up to deck 5. That's how, or I guess deck 4, because deck 5 is the cockpit. But that's how we used, or got the single ladder to go all the way up to the top, is by using these companionways. And then in the front, we just use these Hope Tech Nose A, and you can have them so they're sloped to the right, to the left, and then there's a centerpiece here. So this one's going to go to the right, this one's going to go to the left, and then the centerpiece. And it just looks like one giant piece that goes all the way across. Alright, deck 2 is this one back here. I had to think about it for a second. How do we want to do this? Let's start up here with the companionway. So the companionway will go directly on top of the other companionway. That way the ladders will go all the way to the top of the ship. We have a Stroud living quarters 2x1 directly behind it. We have a Brig 2x2 from Stroud right here. Hang on, let me make sure. I don't think I'm doing this right. Alright, I'm back. Yeah. Alright, I think I figured this out. So, let's just start from the front, because it'll be easier. We have a Stroud nose cap. And it's like, you can have it facing down or facing up like that. We have it, this is going to be facing up. And then we have a Stroud cap A, starboard port. Another Stroud cap A on that side. And then to fill in behind it, we're going to use 4 of these Galleon S204 cargo holds. This is going to be the bulk of our cargo capacity in these 4 holds. Now behind that, we're going to use a Stroud brig 2x2. I'll go right there. A Stroud living quarters 2x2 right there. And then in this little gap right here in between, we're going to stick a Galleon S201 cargo hold. And then our 28T Defender shield generator will go right there. And I like to hide the as much as I can internally in the ship to keep the top and the sides as clean as possible. So I do little tricks like this. So I usually try to get everything inside the ship so you don't see it. For the back, I used these Deimos storerooms. There'll be one connected to the Stroud living quarters and another to the Stroud brig. And I don't know why these are Deimos. I don't know why I didn't use Stroud. I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. Fuel, we use a 900T HE3 tank. We'll stick it right there. Our Apollo GV200 grav drive can go right there. And the SF40 shear flowed reactor, fill out the last spot right there. That's deck 2. Now you can see we have this little slot right here that I had open that I didn't know what to put here. I tried to put another storeroom, and it just jacked up all the ladders. It turned into a labyrinth. So I was like, screw it, I'm not doing that. I just took it out. So what I ended up doing was, to use it, I decided to hide the comm spike and the conduction grid inside the ship, and I'll just put them in there. I used a Horizon weapons mount to put the conduction grid. Unfortunately, you can't fit the comm spike on the bottom part. So what I ended up doing was I used a weapons plate or equipment plate from Tile and just set it right there on the bottom, and then it'll go right here in the middle. It fits in just fine. And that's deck 2. Deck 3 is a Stroud cargo hull, 2x3. And it'll go right up against the generator, or the reactor, the grav drive, and the fuel tank. And then a Stroud mess hall, 2x3 will go right there. And then a Stroud mid bracer up front. Another Stroud mid bracer right here. I tried different things here. I tried cargo, or I tried to put a little supply closet, or whatever you want to call it, right here. Storerooms. Tried putting 2 storerooms here, and it jacked up the ladders again, so it went all over the place. So I had to give up on that idea and just fill it in with structural pieces. To fill in on top of these Stroud Cap A's, we're using 2 of these Stroud Nose Cap C's. And you can stick one right there, and it fills in the slot just nicely. The second one there. And then we'll have a Stroud companionway for deck 2. I'm using a Nova weapons mount from Nova Galactic. You can pick these up at New Augusta. I forgot the name of the damn city. Anyways, you can pick them on the UC side. You can't get these on the Freestar Collective side. I'm using 4 of these PB-175 Helion beams. And we're going to stick it in there just like that. It fits in just barely. Alright, deck 3. It's going to cap off the top of the nose with these Stroud Cap A's, 2 of them. And then a Stroud Cap Nose B to go on top. And that's the nose section. Behind it, we're going to have our last, I think it's the last one. Yeah. The last of the Stroud companionways, 2x1 or 1x1. And then behind it is all-in-one berth, 2x1 from Stroud. And a Stroud infirmary, 2x1. We're going to use 4 Stroud Cowling 3 LAs to fill in the sides here. And the last piece will go right over the top of the reactor and the fuel tank to cover them up. And we'll use a storeroom right here behind the infirmary to cap off the last piece. So you can see I have these little wings sticking out. It's the halves, the 2x1 halves that I used, or 2x2 halves. That's where the wings are going to snap on later. They'll just snap on like that. Alright, that was deck 4. Deck 5 is going to be a Stroud, or Captain's Quarters 2x1, and an Engineering Bay 3x1. And then we can get the bridge. I used a Kontiki B500, and it's going to go right on top of that last companionway that we put in. That way, when you go in from the bottom, this 100 DP Slim Docker should be on the companionway at the bottom, right, just like that. So when you go in the bottom, either through the loading bay or landing bay or the docker here, you end up in this companionway, and it goes all the way straight up to the bridge. Now, when you get to deck 4, because it goes all the way to the bridge, this cockpit doesn't have access. You can't go from the bridge directly behind here. That's why when you get to deck 4, there's a second ladder on deck 4 that goes up into these two sections. So that was a necessary compromise just because of where I tried to move all of these companionways back one, but because this is a bottom loader, there's really no way to do that. It was just I kept messing it up, so this is what I settled with, and I'm happy with the way it came out. So at the top, we use a Daedalus Tail A at the back, just like that, and we use 3 of these Demo Spine Bs, and you can pick all these up at New Atlantis. Basically every part that's not from Stroud, I got it at Neon, or the little display, Stroud display storeroom inside Neon. Anything you can't get there, you can pick up here at New Atlantis. But anyways, I use 3 of these Spine Bs, and then taper it off at the end. I use a Spine A4. And to cover up the sides here, I use 6 of these Deimos bumpers. These bumpers can be left, right, or you can make them this long variant for the centerpiece. So we'll put the first one there, the long piece in the middle, and taper it off in the back. Same with the port side. And that left a little piece in the back here, and I'll show you why I didn't. Because these things only have 2 pieces. You can't make them 1. So if I did it like this, I would have to make it look like that, and I didn't really like the way that just ended back there. I don't know. It was just, I didn't like it. So I had to figure out something to put it back here, and I ended up deciding on these 2 200G HE3 fuel tanks. I don't really need the extra fuel because this 900T HE3 tank is just massive. It has like almost 700 fuel. Yeah, 650. So, but I just consider this to be like emergency fuel tanks for like lore purposes or whatever, role playing. On the back, we're using 6 of these SAL 6830 engines. These are 2-power engine each, so you can have max of 6 of them. These have the most maneuvering thrust and engineering thrust you can get in the game overall. You can only unlock these engines once you do the Stroud All That Money Can Buy quest without killing anybody during the stealth mission. As far as the wings go, so I needed something obviously to cap off, that would just look dorky flying around like this. So I used 4 of these Stroud Cap A's, and you can have them facing forwards and 2 more facing backwards. And to connect the 2 pieces together, I used 2 of these Stroud Cowling 1LA's that just snap in like that, and they can go either direction. You can also have a different variant like that, where you can have like a mounting point on the top, but I didn't need that, so I'll stick them just like that. Two of them together, and then you can snap your two pieces together, and it just leaves this gap at the bottom, and that's what we're just going to slide over the top of our halves that are sticking out. We're going to do the same thing for the other side, which I'm going to go over the guns here in a minute. But it's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these Stroud Cap A's, and then 2 of these Stroud Cowling 1 LA's. Oops. Did I hook that up somehow? Yeah, I did. So we'll just snap that on like that. Kind of like a Battlestar look right here with the pylons on the side. As far as the weapons go, I'm using, I usually used to use all those auto type weapons. So if you're looking at the guns, they'll have like PB300 alpha beams, but they'll also have a variant called the PB300 auto alpha beams. So the auto alpha beams will fire faster, but once you depleted the energy, you have to wait for them to recharge. These fire slower, but they always fire. You can just hold the button down forever, and you never run out of charge. They just recharge immediately after every shot. So it's if you're just fighting a single ship, it might be better to have the auto type weapons because you can just destroy them faster. But if you're for prolonged combat, I kept running into situations where my guns were running out of energy and I was having to wait too long for them to recharge, and I didn't like it. So I'm using 3 of these PV300 alpha beams, and I just stacked them up on the wings like this. And then on either side, on the Stroud Cowling 3LAs, I have this little piece that's sticking out. Oops. Now I could have just stuck the guns like that, you know, but I wanted to cover up these pieces that are sticking out. Now I could have tried to, well, I can't do it here, but you could put a whole bunch of these down here, but it ended up going over budget on my weight. Because these are, was it 1, 2, 3 of these pieces in one. It's a lot lighter than 3 of these, because that's 10. 3 of these would be 15, so that's 5 tons, or 5 kilograms of mass for each one of these I used. Anyways, I wanted to cover up these pieces right here, so I used a bunch of these Horizon weapons mounts. And just put one there. And, you know, obviously the gun won't fit down there, but you can have the one on the top. Get the damn thing on there. There. And it kind of like is out at an angle like that, which I kind of like the way that looks. And then we'll put the second one right there. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. That's it. And these are the Disruptor 3340 alpha beams. And then I used, because the Class C weapons won't fit, because originally I was going to do something like this. And I was going to have a so if you're looking from the side, and then I would fill in the other side, obviously. And this would be like this. So the nose was going to be a lot bigger, right? It's going to be this big ass nose on the front. And I was going to put 2 of these Nova weapons mounts on the front. But what I found is you can't put these Class C weapons, because when they're in here like this, the Class C weapons are too big to fit on the sides here, and you can only get one. They won't stack together because they're too big. So it really was pointless. So what I ended up doing was just shorting the nose up, which I'm kind of glad I did anyways, because after doing it, I do like the way it looks a lot better. And then I could get, because these are Class B weapons, these PB-175 Helion beams, they'll fit in there for all 4 of them. I could just stick these guns up at the top. There's more than enough hard points up on the top. And then what I thought about doing was adding a hab. And I could just stick a hab up in here, like that. And you can put a porthole or a nose cap or something on the top of that to cap it out. And you could do that and just get rid of this weapons mount and put the guns up on the top. But it was starting to look kind of gaudy up on the top with all the guns just sitting up there. And I have enough hab space in there. There's a lot of space inside the ship. So I stick that in there. These are Class B weapons, but they're very powerful for Class B weapons. These PB-175s, or PB-175s are some of the best weapons in the game. I really like them. Anyways, that's it. I did toy around with a couple other ideas. Like I was going to get rid of this cockpit, and I have this, a second one of these, like up here. And then I was going to put a, I guess it'd be a hab. Like a hab back in here, and then I was going to put the cockpit, something like that, in here. I don't know. It just looks weird sticking out like that, like a tongue sticking out. I mean, it works, but I decided against that just because of aesthetics. So I went with this big ass Kontiki bridge on the top, this little eyebrow type bridge. Stick that back in there. It's all nominal. Weapons are very powerful. Like I said, the only compromise I made was 100 in the shield health, because I wanted to keep that 7,000 cargo. I don't know why. It's just a nice round number that I was happy to get to. And that's that. As I was saying earlier, it's really just a combination between this beluga and this razorback. Anyways, let's take off. And I'll take some of the buffed stats. I have a full crew on board. I got Barrett. Actually, I don't think I have Barrett on there, do I? I don't remember. Damn it! I can never make it to the top. And one boost. Yeah, I do have Barrett. Oh no, that's Amari.
For liftoff.
So you see when I take off, the reason why I didn't put that last gear up in the top, because it would have been offset and it would just look weird. I wanted to keep it this the symmetry of the bottom of the ship looking nice.
Looks peaceful from up here, doesn't it?
Alright, the shield strength is 2700. It would be 28 if I had that Class C generator, but like I said, it's 70. It's a difference of 70 kilograms of mass, and I didn't want to reconfigure the ship to try to do that. 8 crew members. I have the perk skills that give me the reactor gives me 40. I get an extra 5 through my skills, and then Vasco is giving me an extra point, so that's nice. With all the buffs, and I have Samco on board, skills and Samco on board. I have 12,127 cargo. I have way too much fuel, 790, but whatever. And that's it. So that's the Albion. Let me take a point out of the engines to that, and we'll go over to Serpentis and blow up a few of the guys. I haven't downloaded the Shattered Space yet. I need to do that. I just started playing this game again after a little while. Taking a little break from World of Warcraft.
And in one instant, the stars are rearranged. And we are here.
So you can see with these weapons, I can just fire them forever. They never run out of power.
Face your suffering.
So anything with anything with a 3 in the name is going to have a lot of shields. World of Warcraft stuff like tab targeting and all that. It's just not working. So do a little bit of damage to my grav drive there. Let's see, there's a hostile area down here.
Yes! Their grav drive is out of commission.
Nowhere to run now. Grav drive out. Bye-bye, enemy shields.
Loadout at grab drive.
What am I, oops, what level or difficulty I'm on? Settings, gameplay. Oh, I'm on very hard. I thought I was on extreme. Oh, whatever. Play with that later. That's basically combat. It's pretty easy. Especially with the, those weapons are super powerful. Every planet out here has an asteroid field. I hate it. So I was flying around out here earlier, blowing stuff up.
You shall be
There
judged.
he is.
The great serpent demands blood.
Target's grav drive is down. So sorry, folks. Ah! Target's engine is
Grav
down.
drive is toast.
Ah! Nice.
Get out of this asteroid field. We'll take a look at the ship from the outside. This is the ship. It's pretty beefy looking. It's got a nice profile to it. Some people can make spaceships with like like the frames and everything. Like they look more like a spaceship, because in my mind this looks more like something that would fly around in an atmosphere. But some people are better at making ships that actually look like spaceships. I need to try to broaden my, because I think a lot of my ships end up looking the same. But I'm happy with it. I don't know, let me know what you think. I think for my next ship, I will probably go over the build for. I was thinking about doing this little roly-poly, this little Class A ship, or excuse me, a Class B Tio build that I did. I'm happy with the way this came out. It was pretty. I had to get creative. Like I said, I don't do glitches or mods. So like how I've managed to wedge the shield generator up under these two cargo holds was really saved me a lot of headache, because otherwise I was gonna have to delete the tail, and I really liked the way the tail looked on this thing. So I was happy that I was able to fit in there like that. Also, I'll probably need to do a video for this. This is my Razorback, and I redesigned this as a Class B ship. Try to give it more of a fighter looking design. I swept the wings back, changed the engines out, and upgraded all the weapons and everything to Class B. So I thought that came out pretty good looking. Anyways, I hope you guys liked the video, and let me know in the comments. Talk to you later.